Now, given that Disney and Lucasfilm are getting prepared for Star Wars Celebration this April, which by the way takes place in London, it's going to have a ton of new announcements, a lot of new teases to come for existing Star Wars shows, and a whole lot more that's going to add to the roadmap, even more so, by John, George, Dave, Bob Iger, and more, really kind of making all these different announcements to really hype up the fans. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now that brings us to what, of course, is going on with the Ahsoka Tano series and other Star Wars TV shows out there and the like. Now we know that John and Dave are really planning ahead. They already have TV shows that are stretching all the way until 2026 as we speak. Like I say, they're working on over a dozen shows simultaneously in different phases of development. This includes both TV shows and Star Wars films as well. That's going to really expand the Star Wars roadmap like never before. Now that brings us to one thing in particular about what Favreau and Filoni are doing that's going to be quite amazing for a specific Star Wars show. If you guys don't want to be spoiled, I do suggest that you guys back out right now. But anyways, if you guys are very much intrigued, sit tight, relax, and just enjoy what they are about to do. Now, the thing about the Ahsoka Tano series is that it is going to deal with the world between worlds. And a lot of it is going to have to do with prequel trilogy era callbacks. Now, we know that George Lucas had a large hand in using a lot of archived footage from Revenge of the Sith, as well as, of course, aspects of other deleted scenes for Revenge of the Sith that will be coming into play for the Ahsoka Tano series, mixed in with newly shot footage. Now, one thing that really stands out the most is one of the last scenes that were filmed for the Ahsoka series. Now, with Disney and Lucasfilm getting ready to develop and announce many new Star Wars projects, John and Dave have been working very hard on the Ahsoka show, and also a second season to that to expand the series. Further, it's noted that one big thing that John and Dave are developing for the Ahsoka show involves the world between worlds. One major moment is set to involve Anakin, Kenobi, and Ahsoka, set to debut in Ahsoka Season 1, that will feature a moment in which Ahsoka is viewing both Anakin and Kenobi's duel on Mustafar, where she is watching and spectating their fight on the ground. Now, one major part of the sequence is set to involve a piece where Ahsoka witnesses the moment that Kenobi severs Anakin's limbs, as Anakin falls down the land incline and begins to engulf in flames. The scene featured Rosario Dawson and Hayden Christensen, where Anakin is burning alive again, as Ahsoka has to watch Anakin's injuries unfold. The scene involves a quick shot in which Ahsoka is shedding tears, watching her master burn and screaming in agony. So let me just stop right here for a second. This is very emotional. It's teaching Ahsoka Tano what really went down on Mustafar, what happened to Anakin Skywalker, and a part of this scene, alright, the prelude to the entire titanic moment here, where Anakin just sinks into becoming Darth Vader completely, is Ahsoka is witnessing what really happened to Anakin. She sets out to the world between worlds to seek answers, and this is exactly what she's able to get. Now, she also, at one point in time, we already talked about this, will be taking the role of Obi-Wan Kenobi during the fight over the lava. But once it's on land, that's when she actually spectates Kenobi doing what he does to Anakin in the final cut of Revenge of the Sith. But it doesn't end there. It actually gets even more emotionally speaking, of course, for Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano. Now, as you all know, the WBW is a realm that certainly has unwritten rules. We're not quite sure about what those rules are just yet, but John and Dave will be creating them in the Ahsoka series and more shows to arrive in the future as well, one of which being the Circle of the Wills, that's going to explore the WBW again. Now, the thing about this, alright, that really kind of unfolds even further is that it's set to explore additional scenes from Revenge of the Sith that got deleted, and they're going to be using that archived footage along with newly shot footage to recreate moments like Anakin burning alive on Mustafar and this one in particular. Let's jump right into it. Now, the environment on Mustafar begins to transform to a point in which Ahsoka is then inside of the medical chamber, in which Anakin is being put together as Darth Vader in the suit. However, John and Dave are said to be making a powerful piece of dialogue more audible, where Anakin shouts, "Padme, help me," just as the mask rolls over his face. The dialogue has heavily been heard vaguely by fans in the final cut of Episode 3, however barely audible, and John and Dave are set out to make it very clear where Ahsoka watches Anakin delivering that line before turning into Vader completely. So this has been a big discussion for years. I know a lot of fans have had a tug-of-war type of conversation saying Anakin does not say that, it's just some kind of, audible hallucination, auditory hallucination, where it's kind of tricking your brain into hearing that. Others are saying that yes, George Lucas intentionally put in Anakin saying, "Padme, help me." Now, I'm not quite sure exactly what the true answer is here, but a lot of fans say different things. Now, John and Dave are looking at that conversation between the fans, and they are going to be putting that in and making it very much audible among the fandom, regardless. And I think that's a very powerful thing that they're doing, the fact that Ahsoka is going to see Anakin literally transforming into Vader with the suit being put on and the helmet rolling over his face, just as he actually yells, "Padme, help me." And I think that is a very great conclusion to this whole WBW scene where Ahsoka not only fights Anakin, taking the role of Kenobi, but it also begins to progress to where she watches him burn, watches him scream alive on Mustafar, to a point where she then watches him being built into Vader. Very powerful scene, and I like how John and Dave are adding in the famous "Padme, help me" dialogue conversation among fans. Now, the thing about this too is that Star Wars Ahsoka is said to be very dark in areas, not through and through, but in spots. It is going to be having dark moments just like this. And the fact that they reshot some of this using Hayden Christensen getting built up in the Vader suit again by the medical droids, I think you're going to have a very powerful end of everything here where Hayden is screaming, "Padme, help me." I think he's going to really deliver. I really do. So the thing about all of this that I think a lot of fans need to realize is that the world between worlds, it is a very complex realm. It's not necessarily time travel. I mean, it is technically, but it's more or less you're able to enter a portal that brings you to a moment in time where you can interact with it, but some things you can change, but some things you can't. There's all these unwritten rules. It's very complex stuff. So overall, the fact that they have Hayden, Rosario involved, it's unclear, by the way, guys, we have no answer on this, on whether or not Ewan McGregor shot some scenes. As far as we know, they only used archived footage from Revenge of the Sith, and that was it. No Ewan McGregor on set. So anyways, guys, let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.